The case of Fortunato Zanfretta is one of the most documented abductions in history. He was born in 1952 in Nova Milano and worked as a private security guard when he began to experience encounters with alien beings between 1978 and 1981. On December 6 of 1978, Zanfretta was on duty in Torrevieja, a town near the city of Genoa. It was a dark night. There had been a lot of snow that day, so the road was covered by a layer of ice. As Zanfretta approached a country house, his patrol car stopped for no reason. Everything in the car failed at the same time. He was left stranded in the darkness. Zanfretta saw 4 strange lights in the garden of the house and went outside with his gun and flashlight to investigate. He thought the lights belonged to thieves and climbed onto a wall to take them by surprise. At one point, he felt someone touching him from behind, and as he turned around, he saw a being that seemed to have a green, wavy skin and was at least 3 meters tall. He pointed his flashlight at the monster's face and was frightened by what he saw. He ran out and began to notice that a large light covered everything around him. As he turned around, he noticed a triangular, flat object much larger than the country house in the air. Zanfretta managed to get to his car and was able to communicate with the radio operator. The operator later recalled that Zanfretta was speaking effusively and disconnectedly, and the call was disconnected out of nowhere. They sent 2 more security guards to investigate, and when they arrived, they found Zanfretta lying on the ground in front of the house. Zanfretta pointed his gun at them, and while appearing disoriented, the security guards managed to disarm him. They noticed that his clothes were very warm, which was strange because it was a very cold December night. This incident was then reported to the police. The Italian police carried out an investigation at the scene, and the first thing they discovered was a large footprint in the country house, as if an object had landed there. There were also 2 marks in the grass, both 3 meters in diameter and shaped like a horseshoe. The commander of the station in Torrevieja declared that he had no reason not to believe Zanfretta's testimony. He had known him for many years and clarified that Zanfretta was a sensible man with good judgment. Zanfretta refused to go back to the scene of the incident. He was terrified. It was discovered that 52 inhabitants of Torrevieja saw a strange light in the night that was heading towards the country house. The story became well known in the local newspapers, and there were many who labeled Zanfretta a liar and a fabricator. The most persistent investigators managed to convince Zanfretta to allow himself to be hypnotized in order to rule out any psychological aberration and to assess the details of what happened that night. On December 23rd, the security guard was treated by Dr. Mauro Moretti, a psychotherapist and member of the Medical Association of Hypnosis. During that hypnosis session, Zanfretta said he had been abducted by 3-meter-tall monsters with green hair, triangular yellow eyes, and veins on their foreheads. They took him to a warm, illuminated room where they examined and interrogated him. The creatures said they came from the 3rd galaxy. They wanted to talk to humans because they would soon return in greater numbers. According to Zanfretta, the creatures did not speak Italian, but used a luminous device that translated what they said. These encounters would not end there. 3 nights after the hypnosis, another abduction occurred on December 26. Zanfretta returned to work, and while driving his Fiat 127, he suddenly lost control of the car. Over the radio, he said the Fiat was driving itself. He told the operator that he did not have much visibility due to a dense fog, and that the car kept moving on its own. Zanfretta then said on the radio, "I see a bright light. I'm going to investigate." That was the last thing he said to the operator. Zanfretta and his cars were found by other police officers in a field near the road, with warm clothes and dry hair despite the rain. He was in a state of shock, shaking and crying, saying, "They say I have to go with them, but what about my children? I don't want to." The police carried out another investigation. The car had been exposed for a long time. However, the roof and interior were hot, like an oven, and there were huge footprints around the car, measuring 50 centimeters in length. Zanfretta's gun had been used, but Zanfretta himself could not remember what he had shot at. Several reports were sent regarding what happened, including to the military, who recognized these events as truly happening. It is worth noting that in 1978, Italy suffered a wave of alleged UFO sightings. Zanfretta returned to Dr. Moretti for another hypnotic session, which was televised. At that time, Zanfretta had become very popular. However, there were many who did not believe his story, which greatly affected his work and his mental health. All this led to Zanfretta being examined by a prominent neurologist at the San Martino Hospital in Geneva named Dr. Giorgio Giannotti. The diagnosis was, in Dr. Giannotti's words, "He is in a state of shock, but perfectly healthy." All this gave more credibility to Zanfretta's story. At the same time, various articles began to appear, and unanswered questions were piling up. Were these experiences with UFOs and aliens real? And what was the purpose of abducting a man several times? What was so special about this man? And what were these aliens up to? While these questions were being asked, Zanfretta was abducted for a third time on the night of July 30th, 1979. Zanfretta was on duty, this time on a motorcycle, far from the hills of Torriglia. When he disappeared again due to the previous encounters, an intensive search was instantly launched. 2 hours later, he was found on top of the hill near Genoa. There was only one road which led to the top of that hill, and it was guarded by the same security company that Zanfretta worked for. They said they had not seen Zanfretta pass by that small road. Zanfretta did not remember how he had arrived there. He was taken to the International Medical and Psychological Center of Milan, where he would be injected with a truth serum by Dr. Marcos Marchesa. Zanfretta said that on this specific encounter, he was lifted by a strange green light emitted by a spaceship. The doctor declared that no human being can consciously lie when under treatment with pentothal. On December 2nd, 1979, Zanfretta disappeared while driving an Austin Mini. While 4 policemen tried to find him, they saw a UFO in the sky. The object was over the nearby hills. Suddenly, 2 clouds with 2 lights appeared that positioned themselves over the 4 men. Their cars stopped working, and they got out of their vehicles, horrified at what was happening. One of the policemen, Germano Zanardi, was very traumatized by this experience. In another hypnotic regression by Dr. Moretti, Zanfretta revealed that he had stopped to refuel that day. He heard someone calling him from the shadows. He decided to investigate the voice. He said he could not resist that voice. The voice ordered him to drive and head towards a cloud. Zanfretta entered a ship. The man who gave him the orders was a little taller than him and bald, dressed in a large checkered suit under which something made of steel or metal could be seen. He remembers having been given a tour inside the ship accompanied by the great giant aliens. He saw some cylinders filled with a strange blue liquid. One of them had a repugnant creature with a frog's body that the aliens referred to as an enemy from another planet. 2 other cylinders imprisoned a large bird and a humanoid body whose appearance seemed like that of a caveman. Zanfretta claimed he wanted to forget everything that had happened and just return to his normal life. Zanfretta was abducted yet again on February 14th, 1980. He was found in a state of shock, and several people reported seeing a craft in the sky shaped like a football. In the hypnosis that followed this event, Dr. Moretti said that Zanfretta began to speak in an unknown language. Dr. Moretti could not control this regression, while Zanfretta claimed to be contacting the alien. His voice became very hoarse, and he said, "You can't find out anything in a case like this. Running or not believing doesn't mean anything. Everything happens in due time." The last abduction happened on August 13th, 1980, at which point Zanfretta was closely monitored. After this event, Dr. Moretti held a final session. Zanfretta kept repeating questions with negative answers, and it was impossible to continue. Zanfretta, who remembers very little about the experience, says that at some point near the hills in Genoa, he hit a sphere that the extraterrestrials had given him, and that he is waiting. He doesn't know who, and he doesn't know when, but he believes that someday they will return. So what did you think about Zanfretta's abductions? Did they actually happen? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And also feel free to shoot us an email at dragonvin@gmail.com with your own experiences, and we'll look into covering them. Thanks again for watching, and have a great night.